if he doesn't have him and you're chasing him down and working on him as a monster, then he's going to be weak. Even when he heal bursts, he's not going to have that sort of self-sustainability that compared to other medics, you know. So that's an important part. And then the respawn beacon is really interesting. It's really fun. We had way back in the day, years ago when we were developing Evolve, that's the way that you brought hunters back. They didn't come back automatically on the dropship. You had to go plant the beacon. And the monster could see that beacon, and the monster could break that beacon. And a lot of people internally at Turtle Rock, at 2K, a lot of people miss those days when you would have that tense moment. You set up that beacon. So imagine, like, I put the beacon down, it's got 10 seconds left, the monster's coming after it, it's Goliath, he's coming after it, but you're Jack, and you stand in front of the beacon and you repulse and you stop Goliath from coming in, and then the respawn beacon timer hits 0 and my whole team comes back, right? So those moments that you have like that because of the respawn beacon, we missed those moments, and we really wanted to have a character that brought that gameplay back to Evolve, and we felt like the dropship rides are so long, 2 minutes long, plus the time it takes for the dropship to fly in, that we could, it's almost a middle ground between Lazarus, who can just bring somebody back immediately, and the dropship ride. So and it's always very exciting and very cool and surprising for me when I'm on a team with EMET. I get killed, particularly like one day I split from my team, Trapper, and I was split to try to cut off the monster, and I got caught by a Megamouth, and nobody got to me in time, and I got killed. And so I was like, oh man, that's it. And I was, you know how you kind of like get ready for your 2 minute wait. But they were still chasing the monster, and EMET just drops a respawn beacon, and they just keep running, right? They just keep chasing the monster. 30 seconds later, I'm back in the game. I was like, oh, holy crap, I'm back in. That's so awesome. It feels so good when you come back in. And it can also be really scary for the monster. So interesting thing, if you think about Hank's Orbital Barrage, one of the things that's so powerful about it is just that it makes the monster move. Not so much, that's the real value in it, right? There's a huge amount of value in being able just to push the monster away, say you can't be here right now. Whether or not that actually delivers a bunch of damage, a lot of times just getting him off of that in-cap body or whatever, or getting him off of chasing me, is so valuable that I don't care that it did do any damage. The respawn beacon is very, very similar. So if I'm EMET, if we're in a battle and the monster gets the better of me and I move over to the other side of the arena and I throw down a dropship beacon, a respawn beacon, then the monster's going to have to respawn within 30 seconds, or else the whole team's coming back. So what happens is it draws the aggro of the monster, pulls him off of your team, and now you have time to pick somebody up to try to recover. So it winds up being valuable, even if the monster gets to it, he sees it, he can hear it, he gets to it, he breaks it, but think of all that time that he just spent not finishing off your team, not pounding out that in cap, could have probably closed out the game, but now he didn't. So there's huge value in that, and just in that, and whether or not it actually works and brings people back. But when it does, it feels really, really rewarding.
It's a different type of gameplay. Like each medic kind of presents their own style. Like you have to fight against each medic in a certain way. Like the way you're going to approach Val isn't the same way you're going to approach Lazarus. It's kind of the same way with EMET. Like when we first got our hands on playing him, like we gave you a hard time with the design at first because we don't think we were like, oh, it's not going to work. We don't think it will. Like just looking at it on paper and like the first iterations,
you guys were new, pretty new to the team, and that's pretty common. A very common reaction actually among the team when the team sees the design first. A lot of people will say like, oh, I don't think this is going to work, and they stress out about it. Right? And it's not because they don't trust me, because they don't trust the process. It's just whatever. It's they care about the game, and they're worried. They're worried that this thing's not going to work. And I remember having a conversation with you, and particularly Nick was very, very concerned. And Nick's a medic player, right?
Yeah.
Nick loves, that's his bread and butter.
Yeah.
And so he came up to me and was like, I'm really concerned. I'm really worried about this thing. I don't think it's going to work. I have real serious concerns about this. And he was brand new, and for him to come to like the owner of the company and say, I have really concerns about this. Like, I knew he was like super. I was just like, I remember telling him, just don't worry about it. Just like, it's going to be okay. Like, we'll figure it out, right? If it doesn't work, if things feel bad, we'll make adjustments. That's game development. That's what we do. All this is a starting point. We do a design, we put it in front of the team, and we try to prototype that, and then we start play testing it, and we adjust. And I will say, you know, he's very, very close to the original design, although not exactly.
Yeah.
Right? There's always some details, some things that we had to change in order to make it work. So then I remember you guys testing Emmett a few months ago, and coming to me and saying that you felt like he was really good, and didn't really need any balance adjustments, and was really right in the ballpark, and felt like he was viable. And you guys were all excited, and I had this sort of a big moment of relief.
Yeah, I mean, I even remember the first time we played him, right? We had to go in, we always go into things with an open mind, despite like our feelings on the character. Like, we always have to approach something like, all right, let's just see what he can do. And we'll have our first couple games where we feel him out and like, you know, just kind of mess around. And then we get like super serious about it. Like, you know, the competition starts brewing, you know, between us. And then we like, okay, we got to win, you know, against Cliff or me or whoever's on Monster. And, you know, the moments that happened in the games, like I even remember one where it was like a relay fight, and it was down to like 2 bars of health on Cliff, and I think our assault and Trapper were dead, and then the support and medic had split up, but Emmett had placed the beacon over here, like on the other side of the map, so Monster's in between the support and the medic. So at this point he's like, okay, I know I need to kill the support because he can cloak and he's the harder one to kill around a relay, but I really need to deal with this over here. Right, and he had to choose to go for the beacon. We were able to get everyone back in. We still ended up losing, but it was still like getting everyone back in because of how long the support had room because of the Emmett beacon. Like, the beacon got destroyed. Right. Like, it's a super bright blue light in the sky, and it makes noises. Like, it's clearly visible where it is. Like, and you know you got to go deal with it. And then it was just kind of like that space that it created, right? To allow the support to move around the map and get a new position, and then we were able to have one more chance, you know, to fight, you know. But all the little moments like that, and then even one thing we found when we first played Emmett was he's like, because I've seen it even in the Twitch chat before getting in here, was like, people like, oh, his healing's not that good, and I think that's a misconception of Emmett. Is his healing is super sneaky. Like, it was the first time we were playing with him, where it was like, man, we don't really see the healing, but we're not dying. So what's the deal here, right? And Nick was really good about just being real preemptive with the totems or buoys. And then we just kind of, you know, the fights were as if we were running our Kyra, right? On Lord Death on Kyra is probably like one of the best Kyra players in the world. And it felt similar, right? And then even when we would do splits and stuff like that, Emmett is got that offensive capability. So it was kind of like this package that we were really happy with, you know, and able to get our hands on and play. And like, I think we only, you know, after you finally got through the whole process of ballparking him, as we like to call it here, I think there was only like one change like that we did, or two, and that's it, right? Like that was, he was good, right?
Yeah.
And that whole worry that we had, like, and I think it's a cool thing to let people know about, right? Like, that's how design will go, right? It's a long process, and it starts off with an idea and what you really want, and then people will say, I don't know, but then you just say, don't worry about it.
Right. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know, it's been cool seeing like how this character plays out, and just like so many little things you can do with him to really complete this feeling of Emmett, right? And this play style that he brings, and of course.
Well, and plus, and then we've done our work on the design side, but then it goes to the designers, the character designers, and Scott Flanders did a lot of concepts and put them out there for the team to vote on.
Yeah.
And this is very much the one that the team voted on. Like, that concept got built, and that's Emmett. And he's got the old like headgear, like boxing helmets, boxing headgear on and stuff. So it goes to, and Emmett just kept getting better and better and better. He's a cool character to look at, and he's an especially interesting, cool character to hear, to listen. The writing went really crazy. we were originally designing a pistol thing that he would shoot to fire the tracer rounds, and somebody made a joke about using his fingers, like shooting, like pow, and we were like, no, that's good. I like that. That's cool. And we went to Mike Brainerd, who does a lot of the weapon designs, and sort of pitched it to him, and he was fully on board. And so now there he is. He's in the game, and his two fingers like rotate and lock together and become a barrel, and he shoots. It's so wacky. We just had so much fun with Emmett. The gameplay is very fun. It's deep. There's a lot to learn, but it's also, I think it's forgiving. Getting in there and throwing healing buoys, you are passively healing a lot of people, so you don't have to be super precise with it. But there is definitely, because you can heal burst and heal burst in the air and stuff. It's got a lot of depth. Skilled players. It's just overall like I think everybody on the team is very happy with Emmett, very pleased. A lot of people say that he's their favorite. It happens almost all the time, but.
He's definitely my favorite medic. Like, I don't really play, like, the only medic I play is Val, and then Emmett became, like, my next, like, I just love his style. Like, it fits me. It's weird to explain, right? Like, you get attached to certain characters. Like, there's, like, a couple that I just really gravitate towards for no reason. Like, I can't, like, explain why I'm all about that character, right? Like, it just happens, right? And I think that's one of the cool things about getting to introduce new characters like this is new people in the community and longtime players can find like a new character that's like their own, right? Like I even saw in the chat that one of our longtime Kyra players who only plays Kyra, his name is Moiser, mentioned that he might actually play Emmett. So I think if we are able to do that, then I think it's a testament to how great this medic is.
Yeah, he's awesome. As I'm looking at this next game, getting ready to set up, I see on the character select screen, all of his icons, they went with kind of an 8-bit style. And even the audio, a lot of the audio, when you hear it, when you hit the monster with the replay,
little 8-bit sounds.
Yeah, it's got like 8-bit sounds. It's just a very cool overall, like the whole package. It just is very, very cool.
And also to explain what we have up here behind us, we do have a stats page, which we've been doing for new character releases. We kind of already talked about the new release stuff. There's just more for people to read and see. Actually, I do think there's a typo on this. I'll have to get that fixed. It's actually 375 when you're in the healing buoy. So you actually do get quite a big heal burst amount there.
Yeah, that's too close.
Yeah, definitely a little too close. But hey, it's all good. But yeah, we'll be sure to get these posted up on the forums. I know you guys love being able to see like what a new character is capable of doing because we started doing this with Rogue Val. It kind of helps like give players a first look at like what the character does outside of just watching the gameplay. Because a lot of people, as we're finding, people on the forums really just like hearing the numbers. For some reason, they're all just about that. So we just want to make all that out there for you guys. But yeah, like as we went along, like playing Emmett, like. It was, I don't know. He's probably like my favorite. My favorite out of all the characters that we made in a long time. Like he hits something special for me. Like just like the whole like his gameplay style and then the character himself.
Right.
And just his little nuances here and there and the gameplay that he brings to the table. I don't know. He's just been a blast for me.
Yeah, his character, his dropship conversations, and even I think he probably. Definitely rivals Jack for some of the best in-game, mid-round conversations of any character in the game. Like a lot of his comments and stuff are so good. I remember playing one of the first playtests with Emmett when the VO went in, and I went to Matt Colville and I was like, okay. I just had the best moment in the game, ever. We were getting destroyed by the monster. Like we were getting our asses handed to us so bad by the monster. And we got 3 of us got killed, pummeled. We were just getting worked over hard, and we were on the dropship. And Emmett comes on the dropship. What does he say? Do you remember?
I know that's not you're talking about because I remember you coming up and telling me about it.
Oh no. Okay, so it was in defend. So we're playing defend, right? we're getting slaughtered. Like, I've never died so fast. So sometimes in defend, you go after the monster, right? And you try to dome him away from the generator, right? So we run out. Lauren's a monster, Lauren Broach. He's a pretty good monster player. We go out there, we dome him. Within 30 seconds, and I'm not kidding, like it's less than 30 seconds, he wipes the entire team inside of that dome, right? And it was like we were supposed to be the ones hurting him, right? But he wipes us, all of us, inside that dome. Dome comes down, he walks off, and we're all laying there in cap, staring at each other while we slowly bleed out, right? Because so it's a slow, painful death. The whole time we can see the generator health just being whittled away. And sitting there, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like, by the time we get back in, like, certainly that generator's gonna be gone, and the second one's gonna be halfway down, right? So we're all feeling like down in the dumps, like, holy crap. We get in the drop ship, and Emmett says, it's okay, there's another generator, right? And it was kind of like this. We all laughed because we were all down in the dumps, and it's like Emmett knew for reals that we were all down in the dumps, and he was all talking to us. And so I had to tell Colville about it, because it was just one of those where sometimes the characters say something and it's just so perfectly timed, and what they say is so perfect that it really sticks with you. That was one of my very first experiences with Emmett. I'm like, okay, I love this guy.
Yeah, I remember when when the VO was first shown to the whole studio, and I remember how it was pretty rough, right? Like how like I don't think people were expecting how vulgar he was gonna be, and I think a lot of people were like, holy shit, like we're putting that in the game, like. But it was right, that was part of like his design, right? Like, was that originally something that you guys wanted with the character, or is it just something that kind of grew?
That's something that came out of it after the character design was done. You know, this is it's a labor of love with a bunch of different people, and everybody brings something new to it, right? I have ideas for design, other people contribute to that. It goes to concept artists who work on characters, the whole team contributes to that, the whole team picked one, kind of funneled in. Everything just keeps building, and everybody adds something and makes the character, every time somebody else touches it, it gets better and better and better. And that's sort of what 80-90% of the time, Emmett is the super happiest, most positive, friendliest sounding character in the entire game. And the way to make that work is the juxtaposition, right? The other 10% of the time, you hear just something, you're like, what the hell? Did he just say that? And I see that already as soon as the trailer came out, people were like, what? Did he just say that? And the thing is, like, we showcased it quite a bit in the trailer, but in the game, most of the time he's like happy Emmett, right? He goes off everyone just the right amount, right? And so that's one thing we were kind of showcasing the transition and the happy Emmett and the angry Emmett to the team, and a lot of people were really caught off guard, and we were like, whoa, this is too much. But then we had to clarify in context, like, most of the time, he's not going bonkers all the time. He's not like super aggro Emmett all the time. It's rare, and when it happens, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think one cool thing about like the happy version of Emmett was like he's so like he'll just point out little things like out in the world, and he's like as if he's seeing them for the first time. And I think that's one super cool thing about him. He's like he'll see birds and he'll be so excited about birds, and I'm just like, yeah, those are just birds, Emmett. I don't know why you're saying that, but yeah, like he's just like, oh wow, like it's so funny like hearing the difference. Like he's a robot, right? But like he's still kind of like investigating and like learning about the world and like pointing things out. And then he freaks out on random things out of nowhere, and it just gives you that little smile, right? When you're playing this character, like, you know, if he was just like the gameplay and didn't have the voice, you know, he'd still be awesome to play for me, like gameplay wise. But the voice and the character just really completes the whole package for me, and just makes it, I don't know, makes it really like an experience, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, I don't know, that's why I said it before, but he's my favorite medic right now.
Cool.
So.
Should we answer questions?
Yeah, I think we've got questions in the chat. I know we want to mention that also a micro or a balance patch will be coming along with this. It's not too crazy of a patch like before, kind of just hitting some of the problem areas that we've seen in the game right now, like Sonny Torvald, two of the ones that even in the high level and in the telemetry we're seeing are pretty powerful right now. Kind of hitting them and also giving some help to Kraken in a couple ways.
Yeah.
So just kind of, I think we'll talk about maybe getting those on the forums or something like that. Or something
Yeah,
that we can
I
do.
started posting a little bit because people were talking about Sunny.
Yeah.
So I posted the specifics of what we were doing with Sunny, as well as what we wanted to do in the future, because we couldn't do everything that we wanted to with her yet. So yeah, definitely hit us up on the forums, and we'll post some of that stuff up.
Yeah.
As well.
Because I think for all that stuff, we'll kind of right now is EMET time, right? We don't want to take too much away from him. But,
yeah, balance is normal stuff. This
is more fun stuff.
EMET's very special. So somebody asked if you landed a headshot with a tracking round, will the barrage missiles be headshots? The missiles will definitely, that's where they'll be aiming, but they are still explosive damage, so they just count as normal. Originally, we started off with the head, limb, body, but it just felt too noodly, and the missiles aren't. We wanted there to be a little bit of. You'll notice like the missiles, they don't fly super fast, and they also don't turn super sharply. So you can, as a monster, you can get behind things. If you jump really fast, they might not be able to turn around fast enough to go after you and stuff. In order to get them to like hit heads and for that to matter and stuff, they'd have to be really accurate. If you just felt like we just didn't need it. It was already complicated enough. The tracking round, the missiles, they share the same ammo. When they're reloading, you can't shoot the tracking rounds and stuff like that. So we tried to. So it's a pretty complex idea. So we tried to make it as simple as we can with what we could. So
yeah.
But something cool stuff is if you shoot the monster and the missiles start firing and you missed, right, and it went behind the monster, missiles start firing and they're still in the air, and then you shoot again and you hit the monster, the missiles in the air will turn around and they will update their target. They will turn around and then home on the monster. So if you miss, you won't hear a nice, like, cool 8-bit sound. Yeah. But if you, and so then shoot again and keep shooting until you hear the 8-bit sound, and then you know that you hit the monster, and then the missiles will reacquire the target. So it's really fun. It's almost like it's a little bit of a mini game, you know, and even fighting wildlife and stuff. Like I had reavers chasing me, so I just shot the ground where they were coming, and the barrage hit and killed all the reavers, you know, so it's fun.
Yeah, no, it's his missiles are always that fun part. You always got to make sure, like, you might even have to adjust them sometimes. Like, what I've done is, like, you shoot them up in the air, and then you'll, like, shoot another tracker for the last shot, so they all just go down. It just, it doesn't really do anything, but it's just like, oh, I can do it, so it's fun, right? Like, it's just why not? And then I think we'll wrap up the last couple of questions that we have here. And then we have one from Seeds. Is there any way to increase the fire rate for the rockets? Perk maybe? No, I'm pretty sure they always have a set fire rate. You can increase the capacity on them with the capacity perk, the reload time through reload, and damage through damage. But no, nothing to bring up the fire rate on them at all. Right. And then another one from Sideways GTS. In normal play, the monster can see the dropship timer. When EMET drops a beacon, does his view also change to the 30-second blue screen tag?
So yes, and it comes up in the same place as the dropship. It actually replaces the dropship. So some details about that. If the dropship is inbound in less than 30 seconds, you can't place the beacon. It will tell you that the dropship's already inbound. Because the dropship will get there faster than the beacon would. So why let the players plant them? So we don't do that. You also can't place the beacon if nobody's dead. So you can't do it. Players were doing it in anticipation of somebody going down. So monster be fighting, you'd get low on health, I'd drop the beacon, and then you'd actually almost even want to run out of health. So and then this would be down to 1 second, 2 seconds. You'd go down and then immediately respawn. And that just felt really bad as the monster. So the way it is now, I can't place it until somebody's dead, which guarantees that after the monster kills somebody, he's going to have at least 30 seconds to counter the dropship beacon. And the monster, so on the HUD for both teams, it replaces the dropship timer. And then if the beacon gets killed, the dropship timer comes back. So that's the way that all that stuff works.
Alrighty, well, I think that's all for Chris and I here. I think Matt Colville is going to come on and talk about some of the story behind Emmett and all the fun writing that he got to do for this character.
Yeah.
So that's going to be it for Chris and I for today, but you guys stay tuned and be sure to catch Colville talking about Emmett.
Thanks for joining. Nice to see so many people excited about a hunter.
Yeah.
We're used to seeing these this kind of numbers on a reveal for a monster, but to see it on a hunter is awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, my name is Emmett. I am ready to help my teammates. I will rip your face off and wear it like a hat. I will heal you in combat. I'm gonna rip off your dick and beat you with it. I am glad I get to help people. I am reliable. I am the end. I am death.
Oh, so many cables. Yeah, he's a pretty positive dude. He stalks me. Language. Hey everybody!
Really?
We are back. I am here with Matt Colville.
That's me. Hey, how's it going?
He's like, really? Oh, yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
yes, that's who I am today.
Yeah. And that is my name right there. Yes,
is.
it doesn't say Tara.
Yay,
No,
we got
correct.
Tyler
Yeah,
working.
yeah.
Good job, Shane.
Yeah.
You the best. As many of you guys know, Shane is running the stream today. She is learning how, and so we appreciate you guys sticking with us, giving her mad props for those bizarre transitions, and generally being awesome people and making her feel loved. So, anyway, on to the topic of the day, which is
What are we talking about? We're
Mr.
talking about
Emmett.
the new support who's got the. Oh no, it's the. It's not. No, it's the medic. Right. Yeah, that guy.
I know where you live, Matt.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's not. My beard is not as good as DB. No, nobody's. Are you kidding? No, his beard is made of titanium. Yeah, we announced Emmett, and people seem to be having a really positive response to it. And there is one of the early pieces of concept art.
So let me announce. Let me sort of address the elephant in the room, which is I believe you were quoted as saying there were no more robots.
Well, no. Okay, so yeah, this comes up on the floor. Yeah,
It
no, I did
does.
say
It
when
does
people
come
were like, my hair's doing this crazy thing. It looks like Brad. There we go.
So you're fabulous.
Yeah. I actually said when people were like, oh my god, I think he's a robot. I said, oh my god, you guys, I said only one robot. But that was me being funny. Like back in the day, many of you have heard this story a million times, but there are probably one or two people in the stream that are new to this. But like when we originally only had 4 heroes in the game. And when we decided we wanted to be more champions, rather than more Left 4 Dead-y, we said, yeah, let's go to like 12 heroes or maybe 20 heroes. We didn't know back then. And I said, if we're going to have that many different heroes, I want aliens and robots. And Phil Robb turned to me in the first meeting. In that meeting, he goes, no alien. He goes, you can have a robot. You can have one robot, no aliens. And I was like, okay. And that's where Bucket came from. And then, many, many, many months, over a year later, we decided it was time to go back. And I think originally Matt is from TRS. I am Turtle Rock's writer. I'm the guy who writes all the dialogue, and I work on the backstory and the personality and the universe of Evolve. Like, why is the planet called Sheer and stuff like that. I build it back by making another robot. I don't know if there are any more robots on the horizon after Emmett. Emmett is enough, I think.
And you love him because he trolls you, but he does it lovingly. Like, he does, when we posted when Grizzlemarine posted the
Grizzlemarine's videos are great, aren't
the render for Emmett.
Yeah.
Like, Matt was in that thread going,
yeah, people were
little teeny tidbits.
Yeah, it was you. You initially said, hey, just FYI, do not have your kids watching this.
No, people were excited to play him with their kids, and I was like, yeah, he looks nice, but
he looks friendly. There's a reason for that. He looks friendly, and he looks like he's for kids, because actually he kind of is, but also he swears a lot. And I actually said we may have gone too far.
It's not that it's just swearing either. It's like
no, he doesn't just swear.
Visceral.
Yeah, he says
horrific
bad things.
stuff. I mean, you were telling me about like when you were writing it.
Yeah.
And you were sort of like, I mean,
I actually felt like this is me speaking as like a writer. Like, I felt like I let Emmett down because I am not a bad enough person.
Exactly.
I am not a bad enough person to say the things I really thought Emmett should be saying. And so I'm just not that bad a guy. But the stuff that he says, people respond. I remember Bennett, one of our producers, was like he's the first person that sees my work. He's my producer. Bennett's my producer. So I write a bunch of stuff and I give it to him, and he starts wrangling the actors. And so he just starts quoting me the things Emmett says. Like, he's like, a pile of retard meat. And I was like, yeah, he does call somebody a pile of retard meat at one point. And I'm like, I don't actually know what that means. And he's like, at one point Emmett says, we're gonna nuke the monster till he glows, and then we're gonna fuck him in the dark. Like
I actually love that one. I do. It's horrible, but I love it. We're gonna hop into a game so you guys can see some more awesome Emmett play.
Oh, it would be fun to be able to.
But Matt's gonna keep kind of talking. So
yeah, I can't hear the game, by the way. So if you guys hear any Emmett dialogue that you want me,
we tried to bump up the volume on that for you guys so you could try to catch some of his amazing VO. But I'm sure we'll cover him in a story time.
Yeah, we'll bring out like we didn't want to bust out the conversations this time because we think it's more fun for you guys to hear that stuff in the game.
And especially with the shock value that you get from this particular character is perfect.
Yeah, like the stuff he says is crazy. This originally, I think it was Chris Ashton who thought it would be cool if there was a robot medic. And originally, if you go back to the original conception, before we had a name, before we really knew anything about it, we wanted to give Bucket, like, I know this is gonna sound stupid, I apologize ahead of time. Somebody thought it might be neat to give like Bucket a girlfriend. Like, what if Bucket's Wally and we're gonna make Eve, right? And so there were concepts of what a female robot would look like and what she might sound like. And yeah, Bracken's 36. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard. So Scott Flanders, the brilliant Scott Flanders, did a bunch of different concepts. And I wish we had that. We'll in story time we'll have.
We do have another picture of the concepts. It's like a kind of a row.
Well, there's one where he's like the big. He's like the big meaty. Oh yeah, because we're watching.
I think so.
I'm gonna melt the fucking monster's
I
face
have
with
what
my
he
fucking
sent us. So.
Yeah, that's I like Reich 666's favorite conversation. It's one of mine too.
Yeah.
So Scott did a whole bunch of different versions of Emmett. And at this point, we were moving more away from him being a girl robot or a girlfriend, and more of him being like a rescue drone, right? And there's a Popular Mechanics issue that was floating around the office that showed like what the Boston Dynamic guys, the guys who actually make robots, like what those guys are working on and why. Why are they making these things? Because they want robots that can go into not just war zones, but also like when there's an earthquake in Peru and a huge building collapses,
search and rescue.
The people who are often trapped are elderly people and children. Like the adults get out, right? And so they want robots. They're talking about like we've got to make these robots so that when a kid sees them coming, the kid doesn't freak out. right? And so that's where the idea from Emmett came from. It's the
That's so
idea that
cute.
he's this, hi, I'm Emmett, I'm here to save you. Like he often says, don't be afraid, right? Because that's his programming. And the problem with that is that that Emmet robots do not fight monsters. And Emmett's backstory is that Jack found this robot kind of damaged and repaired him. And he's like, oh, a medic drone, great, these will be super useful, but he needs to be able to fight. So he went and got what's the logic core from a Death Commando robot, right? And shoved it into Emmett's. And so there's a conversation with Jack where he's like, hey, Emmett, how you doing? And Emmett's like, I'm doing great, Master. He goes, fantastic. Everything working great? He goes, yes, I am ready to heal my team. And he goes, and how's the Demon Core working? And then he goes, you know, I am death, I am Armageddon. And Jack's like, all right, everything's, yeah, exactly. He's like, it's working great.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so, yeah, Jack is the genius behind Emmett's dual personality, because there's literally 2 robots in there.
Yep. So there's definitely some Baymax elements.
Yeah, like I told the actor, Grant George, you can look him up. Grant George is the actor that plays Emmett. He does both Emmets. We originally thought that we might have to get 2 different actors for it, because I was skeptical that one actor could do both sides.
But he rocked it.
Yeah, he did rock it. He actually Grant George kind of cheated in his audition, because we gave the actors the Emmet lines and what we call Demon Emmet. We gave them the regular Emmet lines and the Demon Emmet lines. And we gave them the characters' little backstory so they understood what was going on. And we needed to hear, can the actor do good guy Emmet and bad guy Emmet? But Grant George's audition, he actually went in using probably Audacity or some free program, and he edited the lines together and created glitches and created that Max Headroom kind of sound. So when when we heard it, we really liked it. And it's like, look, that's if you're an actor out there, that's a cheap way to get the gig, but it worked.
But it's similar as an actor to like going in costume for
sure,
or not like costume, but in clothes that suggest the character.
Yeah, exactly.
The more easily you can make them see you as that character, the better.
Yep.
And like anytime you're willing to go above and beyond, it's always
if you can help us see it, then we're gonna pick you.
And then of course, as you guys heard last week, we also used the speak and spell.
Yeah,
to,
like I said this on the forums. Those of you who follow us on the forums, I said that I think that Brian Bibbo's work is about an equal third of this character. Like the way he sounds, no other character in Evolve sounds like Emmett. As soon as he starts talking, the Hillbilly Deathlord has recognized my Doom.
I love Hillbilly Deathlord.
My Doom shirt. Yeah, so there was a point, or like Scott Flanders liked the idea of Emmett being the helpful, friendly robot drone. And meanwhile, I had another idea, a separate idea. How do I get to do a voiceover? Practice. We had a drone in the game, and I think it still is in the game. Actually, one of the effects in Evacuation, you get these robots.
Oh, they follow you around and shield you. They were made by Sunny.
So as it turns out, those robots have VO that we recorded but didn't get a chance to implement.
Oh.
All right, and we couldn't really make it work because the robot doesn't have AI the way humans do, and so there's under the hood there are problems with that. And I thought that it would be funny if this robot had kind of the drill instructor from